Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, I found this post on the Apollo series, and here's more abuse of babies in Scientology. And everybody's just fine with abuse of babies. Still going on, by the way. The Hubbard baby formula, part 3. And 5 cases of infantile malnutrition. (1981), the American Journal of Diseases of Children. Malnutrition associated with a formula of barley water, corn syrup, that's bad for the kids' teeth and everything, and whole milk. Raymond J. Fabius, MD, Russell J. Merritt, MD, PhD, Paul M. Fleiss, MD, MPH, Judith M. Ashley, MS, PhD. Can download it as a PDF if you want to. Like Serge always says, people were ringing the alarm and nobody gave an F. Just babies, you know. This paper describes the cases of 5 children aged between 1 and 7 months. At least they listed it right. They weren't like, this is the cases of 5 people. Admitted to a children's hospital in Los Angeles, suffering from malnutrition. Malnutrition. You guys know that there's probably a lot of underlying hatred for Scientology in Los Angeles. You guys know. This was found to be due to their parents feeding them with a baby formula based on barley water, which L. Ron Hubbard claimed to have discovered in a previous life as a citizen of ancient Rome. Interesting that he would be Roman, isn't it? It must be a coincidence. You know, dictatorship, slavery. They're all into it, by the way. Just go look it up. Hubbard further claimed that this formula was superior to both modern breast and formula milk. Unreal. It is, in fact, deficient in iron, vitamin A, and vitamin C. The details are available in part 1 of this series. A case study of a case of infantile scurvy. That's very serious, by the way. In a 2-year-old, also caused by use of the same formula, is described in part 2. The doctors demonstrate that they have done some in-depth research by noting that they have observed 5 infants who were brought to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles for problems potentially related to a formula of barley water, whole milk, and corn syrup, Caro or honey, recommended in an article by L. R. Hubbard. Processing a New Mother Ability, 1959, page 1. Their references are impeccable, and they trace the barley water formula back to several of Hubbard's texts. A scan of Hubbard's 1959 article can be downloaded here, and several other Scientology publications which describe and advise the use of this formula are quoted in part 1 of this series. The case histories follow. Am I not medically qualified? I will concentrate here on the gross symptoms, which were extreme enough to motivate the parents to bring the child to a hospital instead of the Scientologist who recommended the formula. Yeah, their babies would be dead now. I will admit the investigations undertaken to eliminate other causes. For those who are interested in the details, the paper can be downloaded here. Suffice it to say that these included some stressful procedures, such as lumbar punctures, barium enemas, and x-rays. Poor babies. Case 1. A 6-week-old baby boy. You see how they always want access to the babies and the children? Illuminati. A 6-week-old male infant was admitted to the hospital because of a 60-hour history of projectile bilious vomiting. Oh my gosh. And a 12-hour history of diarrhea. The infant's diet from birth had consisted of 1 week of breastfeeding, followed by a formula of barley water, corn syrup, and whole milk. I have to wonder what's going through a mother's head when they do that. The anterior fontanelle was sunken. His abdomen was tense, and hyperactive bowel sounds were heard. He was estimated to be 5% to 10% dehydrated. The baby spent 9 days in hospital before he could be stabilized. He was subsequently discharged after he began taking a suitable baby formula designed to restore his body to a normal pH value. I'm thinking, too, maybe by now the mother's breast milk dried up. I mean, it's just, baby formulas are not the best either. The barley water formula had caused acidosis. He was taken to a clinic 2 days later where his parents were told to continue feeding him the conventional formula. Then, incredibly, 6 days later, the patient was returned to the hospital with symptoms of lethargy, pallor, and weak cry, and appeared dehydrated. Ooh. The parents had restarted the original barley water, corn syrup, and whole mild formula. They didn't have spell check back then. The doctors put him back on the recommended formula and investigated his persistent diarrhea. This time it took 13 days to stabilize him. You might want to take the baby from the parents at this point, to be honest. I know a lot of people would get upset about that, but their baby almost died the first time and then they went back and fed it back to him. When he was discharged, the parents were once again told to use the hospital's baby formula. He needed to take this one for 1 month before his body returned to normal. And he could tolerate a soy formula. Yeah, soy, turns boys to girls. This experience clearly retarded the patient's growth. The doctors report that. By 7 months of age, his weight had reached the 25th to 50th percentile for age. And at 19 months, it had reached the 50th to 75th percentile. We can only speculate as to why the parents went back to Hubbard's formula. Can somebody tell me why the baby was not taken from the parents? It was the 80s. After it had been demonstrated that caused such extreme symptoms, which are potentially lethal in one so young, was this due to their own faith in the word? Faith. Faith. Of L. Ron Hubbard and external pressure. Case 2. A 5-month-old baby, boy. A 5-month-old male infant was hospitalized because of a 3-week history of intermittent fever and 1 week of coughing, poor feeding, vomiting, and diarrhea. The infant had been breastfed for 1 week. Boy, I guess that must be the time limit for Scientology. They don't want babies getting real breast milk. After that time, he was fed a formula of barley water, corn syrup, and whole milk. During this 3-week illness, about 600 milliliters of formula was consumed daily. On physical examination, he appeared wasted but well hydrated. A röntgengram X-ray of the chest demonstrated a lower lobe pneumonia. Imagine if the doctors had been let into those nurseries. But LAPD's fine with all that, you know. It gives them, what did that one cop say? It's good money. He demonstrated a weight gain of 740 grams during the 16-day hospitalization. That means that baby was in real dire straits there. And weighed 6.92 kilograms, 5th to 10th percentile at a follow-up visit at 7 months of age. At least parents got the message first time in this case. Yeah. Ring-a-ding-a-ding. Case 3. 5-month-old baby girl. A 5-month-old female infant was admitted to the hospital after a 5-day period of upper respiratory tract infection, complicated by coughing and wheezing during the preceding 48 hours. The baby had also vomited several times on the day prior to admission. The infant was given a barley water, corn syrup, and whole milk formula. Also wonder about allergies. After a 10-day stay in hospital, a course of antibiotics, because, you know, all babies need that, and a new diet of a cow's milk formula, cereal, and baby food, she could be discharged. As with the previous patients, this little girl's growth had been retarded. The infant responded to a 10-day course of oral amoxicillin, tridrate, and gained weight when given a cow's milk formula, cereal, and baby food. At the time of discharge from the hospital, her weight was 3.88 kilograms. At 6 months of age, she weighed 5.2 kilograms, less than the 5th percentile. This is child neglect. This is child neglect. And her height was 60 centimeters, less than the 5th percentile. But there was some indication of catch-up growth. Cast 4. A 7-month-old baby boy. A 7-month-old male infant was admitted to the hospital with a 5-day history of diarrhea and vomiting after outpatient therapy with a liquid diet that included a barley water formula and fruit juices was unsuccessful. What's wrong with people? The infant's dietary history was remarkable. He was principally fed a barley water, whole milk, and honey or corn syrup formula, with occasional juices, raw milk, with yeast, egg, and banana. The doctor's description of the child's undernourished and stunted appearance is unsettling. It's too bad we didn't have pictures. Physical examination showed a small, gaunt infant with a height of 66 centimeters. 10th percentile. Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services. Homeland Security. Babies are drinking barley formula right now. Child Protective Services. A weight of 6.46 kilograms, less than the 5th percentile, and a temperature of 37.5 Celsius. He had a weak cry. That's bad. Once again, the patient responded to rehydration and proper nutrition. He put on 7 kilograms in only 3 days of hospital treatment, and follow-up visits showed he had resumed normal growth when his parents started feeding him with a standard baby formula. What's wrong with breast milk? Case 5. A 6-month-old baby girl. By this, the final case, the symptoms are becoming familiar. A 6-month-old female infant was seen because of a 2-day history of fever, congestion, ear pain, vomiting, and diarrhea. Aren't those all allergic signs, you guys? She was breastfed for the first 3 weeks of life, and then was given a formula of barley water, corn syrup, and whole milk. There was a temperature of 41 Celsius, and obvious pallor. Both tympanic membranes were red and raunchy, were heard in all lung fields, indicating ear and chest infections. Wow, the poor baby. It took 3 days to clear her lungs and restore her temperature to a normal range, and 2 weeks of iron supplements to restore normal levels in her blood. Was L. Ron Hubbard's baby formula to blame for the baby's symptoms? The doctors examined Hubbard's recipe and method of preparation. made some up and tested it using both corn syrup and honey. I would say honey would be a little bit better, right? They concluded that it was deficient in vitamin A, vitamin C, and iron. The iron content was found to be even lower when honey was used. Oh. The doctor stated that it is known that inadequate intake of vitamin A, vitamin C, and iron, as well as protein-calorie malnutrition, can reduce resistance to infection. Honey, which is added to the formula by some persons, has been implicated as a potential source of botulinous toxin. Dangerous errors in formula preparation are also possible. The first case where the child is restored to health, but the parents then resume using the formula that caused his serious illness, is perplexing. Freedom of belief is undoubtedly a basic human right, but some beliefs have serious negative consequences for others. In this case, innocent babies. Exactly. Department of Education, Department of Labor, Department of Justice, Homeland Security, Child Protective Services, Child Protective Services, Child Protective Services. Scientologists believe that every word L. Ron Hubbard writings is absolutely reliable. They are entitled to this view. Are they? However, they should not be entitled to put Hubbard's advice into practice. That's medical neglect. When, according to the best current scientific and medical knowledge, it causes malnutrition and scurvy in children. That's child neglect. Child neglect, child neglect, child neglect, child neglect. There are other examples of this dilemma. The most prominent is Narconon, a Scientology front group, which provides drug rehabilitation treatment based on the writings of L. Ron Hubbard. Treatment which is based on principles which contemporary science demonstrates to be just plain wrong and often dangerous. See how many people have either committed suicide in Narconon or died from overdoses because they didn't get the proper detoxification, which is required by law in medical facilities. But for some reason, when it comes to Narconon and Scientology, people can die and nobody does anything. They don't care. They don't do their due diligence. They don't follow up with their duties, which is called dereliction of duties. Facts. Okay, I will leave the link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.